Hey everyone, Mario here. I'm with ILVE Appliances today, and we're going to be making a delicious creamy corn vegan gnocchi. To start, I have a large sheet tray with a wire rack, and we're going to take 2 russet potatoes, place them on the rack, and season generously with some kosher salt. From there, we're going to place it into a preheated oven of 450 degrees. What I love about ILVE's ovens are they have touch screens, which make it very easy to navigate the functions of the oven. They also have soft closed doors and easy glide oven racks. From there, we're going to get into boiling the corn. The stovetop has up to 20,000 BTUs, which allows for a very quick boil. So we're going to take 3 ears of corn, and we're going to gently place them in the water. We're going to boil for 5 to 7 minutes. While those are boiling, we have some garlic and some onion. We're going to start with the onion, and we're just going to start by cutting the sides off, the top and the bottom. Then we're going to go right down the middle and take away the skin. From there, we're just going to go for a nice, easy slice. So using a claw, just come here and gently, quickly slice the oven. Then we're going to take our garlic, press down on it to break it up. I like a lot of garlic in my gnocchi, so we're going to use about half of the bulb. After breaking it with your hand, you can use the back end of the knife to press down on it to get the skin removed from each clove. Okay, so now that our garlic is nice and clean, we're just going to run through it with the knife. And I just like to do a nice rough chop. I like bigger pieces of garlic for my sauce. And we're just going to run through it. Once you run through it one way, we're going to go perpendicular just to get a nice dice on it. Now that our onions and garlic are prepped, our corn should be ready. Just going to place them on the cutting board, let them cool just a bit so they're not too hot to work with. If they are too hot, we can use our tongs, and we're just going to cut them in half. Use the tongs to hold them to prevent yourself from burning. All right, now that we have all of our corn cut in half, it should be easier to get the kernels off of them. So we can let them stand on their own, and we're going to use our knife to just shave off the kernels. You can get pretty close to the grain. It should stop it for you. It should be a natural feel for the cut. This is what we're looking for, just the nice yellow kernels for our sauce. So I'm going to do that to the rest of these. All right, so this is our last half of the corn. And now that we're coming to an end with this, we're going to place them in a container. And we're going to blend with almond milk and nutritional yeast. So now that we have our corn cooked and cut, we're going to add almond milk to the mixture. I'm going to use a little bit of salt, season with pepper, and lastly, we're going to add some nutritional yeast to give it that nutty, cheesy flavor. All right. Now that everything is in here, we're going to have our immersion blender. You can use a normal blender, but I just have mine here. And we're going to blend all of it until smooth. So this is something that we're going for. Just a nice puree. It's pretty thick and yellow, and it'll thicken up in the pan when we cook it. So we can put that to the side. Our sauce is now done. Okay, so it's been about 45 minutes, so our potatoes are pretty much done. You take them out. Set them on the board. So now we're going to cut them open. We're going to scoop out the flesh to then put through the ricer. All right, now that we've removed all the skins from the potatoes, it's time to put it through the ricer. So if you have a ricer or a food mill, they both work great. I wouldn't advise using a food processor or else it's going to turn into too much of a paste. We want to have some air that's being pressed through to create these nice, long, beautiful strands. So just push through. And scrape with a bench scraper. Okay, now that all the potatoes are riced, we're going to season it with a little bit of salt. Add just a touch of extra virgin olive oil. Just drizzle back and forth, just one time through. And lastly, we're going to add all-purpose flour. We're going to feed it through a fine mesh sieve, and we're just going to let it fall through, and then simply tap. Just tap the sides very lightly to create this snowfall of all-purpose flour. And we'll be using more as needed. So we'll put this to the side. Using our bench scraper, we're just going to go through and chop just to get it nice and incorporated. You can start to use your hands. You're definitely going to want to go by feel. We want to create this nice, smooth, not too sticky dough ball. So now that we have a nice log, we're going to cut it into 4 segments, which will be easier to work with. And place 3 of the 4 to the side. Okay, so now we're just going to take one of these segments, and we're going to lightly roll it out, and we're going to use our fingers to extend it on both sides until we form a nice long rope. It's up to you how thick you want the rope to be. If you want bigger, fluffier gnocchi, you can do it at about 1 inch. You can also go down to about 1/2 inch if you want it to be more on the smaller side. So we're just going to do this and be careful to not break it. Okay, now that we have our rope, we're going to start cutting it into the shape. So we're going to start from the left side and just gently cut off sizes about that big, and just repeat until finished. At this stage, you can choose to keep it at this shape and freeze or cook immediately. But what I like to do is I like to give it some ridges. So I have this epicotta spy, which helps put ridges into it, which will help the gnocchi catch the sauce much more easily. So to use this, we're just going to take a piece of gnocchi, put it on the center, and push down with our thumb, and we're going to roll it and then push it off. And we should have this nice shape that has a bunch of ridges in it to catch the sauce. Okay, now that all of our gnocchi is rolled out, cut, and shaped, we're going to put it to the side, and we're going to cook our onions and garlic. So get a pan nice and hot, add some olive oil to it. and in with the onions and garlic. We just want to cook these until the onions are cooked through. And we don't want to brown the garlic too much. All right, so our onions are almost done. So at this point, we're going to add the corn mixer. So we're going to bring our corn sauce over. Just add it here. Get it nice and hot. Mix in to incorporate. We can let that go. So that's going to come up to temp real fast. And we can move on to our pot of boiling water to cook our gnocchi in. All right, so now we're going to take some gnocchi and put it into the boiling water. You'll know that it's done when they come to a float. Now that it's been about 2 minutes, our gnocchi is starting to float, so we can take them out and put them right into the sauce. A little bit of pasta water is always good. And now we're just going to mix to incorporate. We're pretty much there. Almost done. So now that all of the gnocchi is cooked, it's in the sauce. We're gonna let it sit on low heat for just a little bit, and we're gonna get our garnishes ready. So we have some delicious Marcona almonds. They're toasted, and we're just gonna crush them up just a little bit. All you need is a knife, and just rough chop is perfectly fine. Just running the knife through it. And this will, again, add some really good crunch to it. So almonds are done. Now we're gonna get some parsley. I'm using flat leaf Italian parsley. We're gonna destem, just want the leaves. And this will add some nice color and contrast, a bit of earthiness to it. So again, just run the knife through. And just gonna wanna go through once. You don't wanna obliterate these greens. All right, now we're ready to plate. Just gonna get a ladle, take some of our gnocchi, pour it into the bowl. I'm gonna add some of the Marcona almonds. Some of the parsley. Some cracked pepper. Touch of salt. And lastly, just a kiss of white truffle oil, just to get a little fancy. And there you go. And there you have it, a delicious creamy corn vegan gnocchi. Happy cooking with ILVE.